Yo, what's up YouTube? It's Edwin, the comic Jabroni, coming at you. This is episode 2 of season 2 of Arcs and Minis, where I review a miniseries or story arc ranging between 3 and 6 issues long. If you stuck around to the end of last week's episode, you know this week we're going over Catwoman. So stay tuned, guys. Alright guys, so welcome back. So Arcs and Minis, episode 2, we're going over Catwoman. If this is your first time watching Arcs and Minis, basic, simple premise. I review a story arc or miniseries ranging between 3 to 6 issues long. It could be a miniseries, a standalone miniseries. It could be a story arc within a larger story. Whatever it be, I'm reviewing it and I'm breaking it down. Story, artwork, and speculation value. This week is Catwoman. Make sure to stay tuned to the end of this episode to find out what we're reviewing next week. So let's get into this story. So this is Catwoman, issue number 1 from the 1989 miniseries or story arc of Catwoman. This kind of is her year 1, very beginning, tells the story of Catwoman and where she came from. It is written by Mindy Newell. The artwork is done by J.J. Birch, and all 4 of the covers are done by J.J. Birch with help from Michael Baer. So this is issue number 1. Here is issue number 2. Issue number 3, which is my favorite out of the 4. And issue number 4. So there you go. Real quick, real easy. 4 issues. If you don't want to go out and find these and you have the DC Universe app, you can go on there to read these issues. That is it. That is where I read my 4 issues. I did not open these bags and boards and read them through there. So what can I say about the story on this? It is a new perspective on Catwoman. In this story, she is a prostitute. Selina Kyle is a prostitute, and from the very beginning of the story, you see her, you find her outside of a church, beaten up by her pimp, and his name is Stan. S-T-A-N, Stan, right? Beaten up. She's taken in by the nuns. One of them seems to be very pleasant. This nun, Magdalene, Sister Magdalene, or Maggie. Then there's another nun who, not so nice. She wants to kick Selina out. She knows what kind of lifestyle she leads, and she doesn't want anything to do with it. So, what happens with Selina? She gets beaten up. One of the cops that is investigating what happened with her sends her off to this gentleman to give her some training on how to protect herself, right? So through this training, she transforms herself into the Catwoman. She takes on this persona to go out and try to fix the situation that she is in. What can I say about the story? Throughout the 4 issues, you find out a little bit more about Selina Kyle's backstory, that she actually has a sister, which, lo and behold, is Sister Magdalene or Sister Maggie. Through the story, Stan finds out who Catwoman is, finds out that she has a sister, abducts the sister, and says, "I'll give your sister back for your life, Catwoman, so I'll kill you and your sister can go free." I don't exactly know how that plays out anytime in these comics. It never seems to work for the bad guys, but that's just how it is. Story was okay in my view. I'll give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a nice, refreshing new take on Catwoman and her evolution into Catwoman, right? It's a new take on Selina Kyle and how she becomes the Catwoman. It's not because she got bit by cats and became this super Catwoman, kind of like what we saw in the second Batman movie, Batman Returns, right? I think she fell from the roof in that one and all the cats kind of surround her and she becomes a Catwoman. Nothing crazy like that. In this one, right, she's just a prostitute. She gets beaten up by her pimp and she goes out and gets help as far as learning how to be a martial artist or how to protect herself. You do get some cameos from Batman in here in the 3rd and the 4th issue. What I really dig about, I'm going to go ahead and post, that's issue number 2, issue number 1, and here is issue number 3. So what I like about issues 3 and 4 is you finally get that banter and that kind of love starting to kindle, starting to fire up between Batman and Catwoman. So 3.5 out of 5 stars, new take on Selina Kyle. All right, guys, as far as artwork goes, it is your run-of-the-mill 80s style artwork. Can't say anything more, can't say anything less. You get a new side of Gotham City that you really haven't seen before, which I kind of dig. J.J. Birch did a great job of showcasing this more underworld, underbelly of Gotham City. Really reminds me of those TV shows and those movies that showed New York City in the 1970s, where there was a lot of neon lights, but there was like prostitution and these dirty magazine stores. I don't know what to call them, man. It just really reminds me of those kind of movies or TV shows. And no, Edwin the Comic Jabroni's not into that kind of stuff, if you dig what I'm saying. So, artwork, guys, 4 out of 5. I love 80s comic book artwork, and J.J. Birch just knocks it out of the park with this. Like I said, dark, but you get a little bit of color in there. Love the way he draws this old school feel for Catwoman. Batman, he does very nicely. Batman can, and what I've noticed in a lot of comics is Batman can either be drawn really, really well or really, really bad, right? There's not a lot of in between, and I'll say that Birch does a great job of drawing Batman. What I also like is it's just a new take on the villains of Gotham. You know, it's not superheroes or it's not the mob rule. This is prostitution and pimps, man, in Gotham City. That's not something that you really have seen before, and Birch just brings it out in the artwork in this issue, guys. So 4 out of 5 stars for story. As far as speculation goes, I'm gonna give it 1 out of 5. Not much as far as Spec goes, so if you're into the Spec game, Catwoman's not the one to have it with. These issues can be found on my comic shop for fairly cheap. I think the more expensive one is going to be found is number 1, and probably $6 to $8 on that issue. You can get the whole run for less than $20, all 4 issues. Like I said, if you have the DC Universe app, they are on there, so you can read the 4-issue miniseries on there. I did look on eBay. There are some people that have gone ahead and slabbed these issues, and they're crazy, man. Some of them are running anywhere between $75 to $100 for these slabs. They are 9.6s to 9.8s, but the covers aren't that great to get them slabbed, and there's nothing really major about them. You get the first appearance, I want to say it's the first appearance of Selina Kyle's sister, but that's about it, guys. Other than that, nothing really major happens. So 1 out of 5 stars. All right, guys, that's it. Arcs and Minis, episode 2 of season 2. We reviewed Catwoman. Great story. Great new perspective and look at Catwoman, at Selina Kyle. Artwork, though, man, it's so beautiful. It is great. 4 out of 5 stars there. So Edwin the Comic Jabroni is digging himself some Catwoman from 1989. Shortly after this, about 4 years later, you'll get the ongoing series of Catwoman in 1993. So be on the lookout for that. That's a great, Catwoman is a great character in the Batman universe. Absolutely dig Selina Kyle. Let me know, guys, have you read this Catwoman 4-issue miniseries? Or is this even anything that you really knew existed? Because to tell you the truth, I had no idea that this was a thing until about 2 months ago. So anyways, I'm Edwin the Comic Jabroni. Make sure to stay tuned after the credits. We're going to talk about the next book for episode 3, Arcs and Minis. Remember, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, write me a comment, let me know what you think. So until next time, peace.
Richard Sullivan has spent 10 years on death row for a crime he claims he never committed. But lately, inmates are being brutally murdered by the warden and his guards. Will Sullivan escape before it's too late? Find out more on the next episode of Arcs and Minis.